Simply, let's give money, let's use money smartly. Let's first collect our taxes in the countries. Let's fight corruption. Let's make the institutions strong. Let's make the government work. And then, on that basis, have the right plan, educational plan, and run around this educational plan. Let's see how we can attract also business to work with us, how we spend this money smartly. I think this is also a challenge for many countries. Sometimes there are high budgets, but the impact is not very high. And this is where also we are working to strengthen some institutions, to make smart budgets for education, to make the right education plans, to put money where the needs are most. Jim?
No, of course the funding challenge is always going to be a challenge, but I think we need to look into the future, because the funding problem depends on the cost of delivery. And I think we come from a past where the education was a rather expensive proposition. You had, let's say, 20 people or so in a classroom, and you had, physical materials. And I look at the future in a very different context. I believe we have the biggest and fastest growing knowledge collection of humankind ever in the internet. It is doubling every 18 months. Some of it is irrelevant, but there's a lot of it that's really relevant. And I think we have a delivery mechanism with technology which will eventually put the marginal cost to zero. And I think that's where we need to look at the smartness of the investment. See, how can we reach more people with the greatest knowledge that's available? And I think there are ways of doing it. I think Clinton said it nicely yesterday. You probably have to separate between the primary school challenge and the higher education challenge. I believe that today my son or my daughter learns more from the internet than they learn in school. And the school system has not taken this opportunity and embraced it yet. And in the higher education area, we have experimented very successfully with the combination of e-learning and access to professor, where in one training class, we got 13,000 students from all over the world. 2,500 graduated. Can you imagine, you compare that to the 100 that would be in the class and the 70 that would graduate with the same effort of one professor. Now the biggest value of that was actually that these thousands of students connected in a network, and we found people that were smarter than the professor, which we have never had found in a traditional system. So the UN had this commitment to zero hunger in the world. I believe that if we use these new opportunities to the best extent, we could have a similar plea when it comes to education.
There are some that might be thinking, is that going to see secondary schools become extinct, as it were, because everyone's going to be online?
No, I don't think so. And we have seen that in our experiments with this, that you need to have actually more time spent on the individual. And you can do that technologically. When you do the online test, you understand the individual needs much more accurately. And the professor can spend more time on individual coaching and individualized learning than you can in a classroom where 90% of your time is spent on giving the course and only 10% for the individual. And without that, it's not very useful. So you need a combination of the two worlds.
Vikas.
Jim, I want to pose you a question.